What's going on, everybody? My name is Chris. In today's video, I'm going to give you some signs to tell if a Gibson Les Paul is a Chibson and a cheap Chinese knockoff. Let's get started. Like I said, I'm going to be telling you guys some signs when it comes to a Chibson versus an actual Gibson. Now, a couple weeks ago, I came across a local pawn shop that had a Gibson Les Paul custom for $999. And I was like, wait a minute. They're usually at the minimum, maybe $1,700 for a bad condition. But this is in pretty good condition. I'm thinking something is off. Something doesn't add up right here. And so I investigated a little more. It had a spalted maple top, which from my understanding, Gibson never did a Les Paul custom in that finish. If they did, let me know in the comment section below. But they absolutely, I've never seen it. I looked it up and they didn't have it on the finish. That was strikes 1 and 2. The price was, I was like, $1,000 for Les Paul. That doesn't sound right. Also, the spalted maple top, it doesn't really sound right either. Another thing that I noticed, and you can see in the pictures that I'll be showing throughout the video, is it had EMGs. Now, a Les Paul having EMGs, there's nothing wrong with it. I know that a lot of people watching this are going to be like, oh my goodness, Gibson Les Pauls cannot have EMGs. What are you doing? Oh, they have to have a pick guard. They have to have this, and this. They don't. They really don't. Gibson Les Pauls are literally workhorses, but there are several guitars that have the EMGs, Les Pauls included, but these didn't have a battery compartment. And I'm thinking, this is weird. So either these are fake EMGs or they're passive EMGs, which I know they exist, but I'm thinking, I don't think that this is right. So I was thinking, man, that doesn't sound right. The bridge was definitely off. It was a slotted bridge, not the ABR system or the Tune-o-matic bridge that is standard on Gibsons. And so I was like, this looks a little weird. I mean, maybe someone put an aftermarket bridge. I was like, you know what? I'm going to let that slide. But so far, you can check by obviously the price, the top. Sometimes they have never done that top unless it's a made to measure. Also the bridge. If it's slotted, it's a fake. Now moving down the neck, we have the nut. Now the nut was cut just a little too wide. And I'm like, this doesn't look right and doesn't feel right. And this was a Chibson, by the way. This is a Chibson. And you can tell because the nuts are not really slotted properly. A Gibson Les Paul will always be slotted properly. Yes, there might be a couple Les Pauls that might have some quality issues, but that's every single guitar maker on the face of the planet. It's not just Gibson, so everyone just needs to stop bashing Gibson because they really have great quality control. And they're actually not that expensive compared to like PRS and other brands. But I digress. That's another tangent for another day. I also looked at the headstock. Now, one of the first things that I looked for is, all right, the serial number. Is it stamped? Does it say made in the USA? And in fact, it does. Now, a lot of people say, oh, you can tell if a Gibson is real or not by the serial number. No, you cannot. Because Chibsons for the last like 5 or so years have been using real Gibson Les Paul or Gibson SG or what, a Gibson serial numbers on their guitars. So if you look up the guitar, especially, and they started stamping this because they've gotten really smart. The China market had been really smart with counterfeiting. For the most part, that is. And it doesn't matter if it's stamped, it doesn't matter if there's a serial number, because I looked up this serial number and it's a 2005 model. All right. But the biggest telltale sign for me is the fact, if you look on a Gibson Les Paul or a Gibson SG ES335, 175, 275, whatever has a 3x3 headstock, you will always see the wings glued on. The little tips on the Les Paul. You will always see that. If you don't see that like this, then it is a cheap Chinese piece of trash. Because the reason they do that is they make the headstock and the neck one piece of board, one wood, and then they glue on the headstock wings to make it a little more cost effective. So it's always you're always gonna see a little line. If you don't see the lines where they connect it's an immediate giveaway that it is a Chibson. It's immediately present. Now, this guitar actually, for the most part, played pretty decent. I was like, this neck is a little big for my liking, but I was like, this doesn't seem right. And I even contacted some friends on my Facebook groups that I admin, like Everything Guitar and Gibson Les Paul and all their subsidiaries. And they said, oh, it's a fake. And I even reached out to Fluff from Riffs, Beards, and Gear and Aggiefish Hunter, even commented saying that it's a fake. And they explained why in the Twitter section. And it got me thinking, man, if you don't know what you need to look for, you could buy a Gibson Les Paul and end up with a piece of trash. What's funny is I was talking to the pawn shop and I said, this is a fake. And they said, yeah, we know, we got it. And then we had our guitar guy come in and look at it, which is very shady. If you're going to be buying something, you should at least do your research on it. So Cash America Pawn, you didn't really do your research. Because if you did your research, you would have found that Gibson never made this guitar. But they said, oh, our guitar guy said to sell for $600. And this is and they were still waiting on corporate. And obviously corporate said, you cannot sell this guitar because it is illegal to sell that guitar as a Gibson Les Paul. If you refinish it and you call it like a fake or you call it anything else, you can sell it, but you cannot sell it as a Gibson Les Paul. But they were wanting $600. I'm like, that's really high. The most I would have paid if I were to buy it, because I would have bought it, refinished it, and put in new parts and make it a workhorse, I probably would have bought it for $200. And I even went online to this website. I don't remember what it is, but it was showing this exact guitar, the Spalted Maple, a 2005 Gibson Les Paul Custom, for $230. For $230. So if I really wanted to, and they said, oh, it's $600. I was like, well, I'm just gonna buy it from online, which I'm not endorsing that. I'm not gonna endorse buying a Chinese knockoff because that's not right. There's nothing wrong with buying guitars from China, like a lot of the great guitars like Epiphone, PRS, and some of the lower end. Well, I said lower end, least or more affordable. That's a better word for it. Guitars come from China, and they actually have really good quality. In fact, this is my China Squier Affinity Strat, which obviously is heavily modded, and I'll be doing a video on this soon. But this is from China, and this neck plays better than most Fenders I've ever played. So it doesn't, like, if it's from Squier, it's from Epiphone, there's nothing wrong with the Chinese luthiers. They're actually really talented. But when they start selling Gibsons or other guitars, they have PRS guitars, they have Fender guitars, they have Jackson guitars, they have BC Rich, they have all those other guitars. So it's not just Gibson. That you have to be wary on that, and you have to do your research. So just to recap this entire video, first, the price. If it's custom and it's less than maybe $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 is really the go-to price for them. Or if it's a top that looks off and the bridges are slotted. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to mention. The horn. The horn on this Les Paul was a little too out there. The horn on the Les Paul is going to be pretty significant, but it's not going to be woo like that. So the horn, the top, the price, the bridge, if it's slotted, it's usually a fake. Sometimes they put an aftermarket because people like to change out their stuff, and there's nothing wrong with it. The EMGs, like different pickups that don't really go with the guitar, like say it doesn't have the battery compartment. The wide nut, the headstock was definitely is the biggest thing. The headstock, if you don't see those wings, don't see those lines, it's a fake. So, have you guys ever came across a Chibson? Do you guys have a Chibson? We're not going to shame you guys or anything. If you bought a Chibson and you knew that you were buying a Chibson, okay, there's nothing wrong with, you can buy one, you just can't sell it. Have you guys seen any other signs? Do you guys know of any other signs to find a Chibson or a fake guitar? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, leave a like. maybe just hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by July of 2021. And so we're about 200 away, which is pretty good. What would you like to see in the videos? Would you like to see more reviews? Would you like to see more discussions like the one that I made of Florida man makes guitar out of his late uncle's skeleton? Yes, that is true. You can see the video up here. Would you like to see more covers? What would you like to see? Let me know in the comment section below. Like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe. And hey, keep rocking.